Hey guys, welcome to the CSA's Git Talk. I'm sure most of you have heard of Git before, but what is Git? Well, Git is a piece of software that allows you to easily manage and easily update all of your applications and software. It is a version control software. It allows for a lot of history to be kept of all of the changes that you do to any of the software that you may write or the applications that you may write. And it's really, really popular in the industry where you have multiple people working on the same project. And it allows you to easily keep track of who's doing what and to make sure at the end of the day that whatever you push out to the customer is exactly what you want to be pushed out. So, just getting started, you'll need to install Git. Git is available for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. So for Mac OS, it would be you would install it through brew install your homebrew. For Windows, you would get something called the Git SCM for Windows. This will give you not only a command line tool, but also kind of a GUI. Git is really supposed to be used in the command line. That's where it's like the best. And Git Bash, when you download it, it'll have a full Bash shell for you, and it will have pretty much all of the normal Unix commands that you would need to actually take full use of Git. And then for Linux, it's literally just a sudo apt. I'm on Ubuntu, so I use apt, and then install Git. Give you your password, and yep, I already have it. But it's as simple as that. On much newer or on newer versions of Ubuntu, that should be on automatically. And then you'll also need a GitHub account. It's free to make. I would recommend some kind of email address, either your school email address or some kind of email address that looks semi-professional, because if you're going to post any of your code up here from your classes and someone emails you about it, or you get or someone sees it, like you're giving it out to companies, it might be better if it's a semi-professional email. Alright, so anyways, let's jump in. So I'm assuming you've set that up. If not, pause, set it up. Alright, so now let's create a repository. So let's open up the terminal again. Alright, so to create a new repository, the repository is pretty much all of the files that you're going to upload to your GitHub or Git repository. For this instance, we're using GitHub. But your repository will live in a directory, but you can upload files or directories up to your repository. Makes it nice and easy, especially if you have build tools and stuff like that, to make sure that everything's in a correct file order, file hierarchy. Make sure everything's good like that. But let's see where we are. We are my home directory. Let's put this on the desktop. Doesn't really matter where we put it, so we're on my desktop. I'm gonna make a directory. Let's call it Git Test. All right. So cd git test. All right. There's nothing in it. All right. So we want this to now become a Git directory. So git init is the command we use, and there. Initialized empty Git repository, and there. So if we ls, there's nothing. Right? Yep. There's nothing we can see. I believe it puts like a hidden file in there, and that's just a Git file, and that's what your Git repository will see. So right now we have a blank repository, and we're ready to go. We're ready to do what we need to do. There are two schools of thought here. You can either just make whatever file you want, continue on with this project, and then push to a repository later, or right now you could just get a repository. So that's what we're gonna do. So come to your old GitHub. Once you're logged in, you'll have a whole bunch of blank repositories. If you have some repositories, you can just click new here if you don't have this page, or we just start a project. So what do we want this repository name to be? Generally speaking, you want this to be whatever your project's going to be, or something that's meaningful to the project. I'm just going to call it test, because we're not really, this isn't like, I'm not doing anything special with this, and this is just to show you guys how to set this up. Public or private, we're going to do public. If you're coding any of your stuff for your classes, and you don't want people to see, or if a teacher says it's okay to push to GitHub, you don't want people copying from them, you can set that to private. And then you have these three things. A Readme file is basically what it says. It's a description for your project. It's pretty much it is a file that allows you to explain what your project is, what it's about, all that stuff. A git ignore is interesting. Git ignore is a I guess config file, where basically you will have a git ignore file in your local repository, and eventually be pushed up to your repository. And basically what that does is you tell Git, hey, don't push any of these files with these extensions, or these files with these names up, yada yada. And that's really important. Like if you have any kind of public or private keys to any server infrastructure, like let's say you're using AWS or something like that, you can have those in separate files, and make sure you don't upload those to the internet, because they can be scraped, and then foreign actors can get a hold of your AWS account and then just start running a whole bunch of stuff. And then choosing a license is basically just like, hey, this is like the terms of service to use my code, what you can and cannot do. Most popular ones are the open source one, the GPL libraries and all that stuff. But yeah, so you can add a README. It's best practice to have a README, even if it's blank, whatever. So we'll add a README. All right. We're gonna have a master branch. Yep. All right. Public test. All right. Do its thing. All right. So now this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like on GitHub. We have our README. Should be blank. Yep. Blank. It'll just be test, because that's the name of the repository, and that's it. All right. So easiest way to do this is to get the HTTPS. You can also set up SSH keys. So your computer and GitHub know, hey, we're authenticated. This is what we want. We can do whatever. And then I guess this is new. I never used the GitHub CLI. Interesting. So we're just gonna use this. So we copied this whole the whole link to the Git. All right, and now open up. Fantastic. All right, so now what we're gonna do, go back here. Oops, sorry. I'll go back here, and we're going to Git Clone. So we're gonna Git Clone. All right. So what I did was I Git cloned, and I Git cloned that link to our repository, and now we have a folder here called test. And there, the README. If I do cat README, Nothing's in it. It's just, well, it's just test, and then that's it. All right. Perfect. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually add. I'm actually going to add files to it. All right. Back to here. All right. So we're in test. And now we're just chilling, right? We have our README, but there's not a whole lot. I mean, there's nothing right now. Right now, if we hit Git Status, right, we're on our branch master. Everything is up to date with origin master. We have no commits. Everything's clean. So, well, now this is where you add things to the repository that anything you want to add, really. So we have our README. Let's change the README. So open up a text editor. You can also do this outside of the command line, but it's just easiest if we do this. So test. Is that really the best name for this? Huh. Let's say my first repository. All right. Okay, cool. So we changed that. Hit Git Status. Oh, there. We have a changed file. Okay, so what do we do with the changed file? Well, if it's ready to be pushed up to our repository, we can do what's called a git add. And now you can either do file name like it says here, or you can give it what's called a wildcard, which if you give it the star, it'll grab all things that were modified or added. So we can just do that. Now let's do a git status. And now you see how it went from red to green. This means that that it is now ready to be committed. It is staged. It is in our it is ready to be packaged up in a nice little package called a commit. And then once you have a commit, you can then push that to your repository. So this is how we do the packaging. A commit is basically the group of all new files and all changes to files that you're going to add. Commits usually are followed by messages, letting people know, hey, this is what changed here. This is what we did. This is what we didn't do. Usually you want to keep them short and concise. If you're in an industry, a lot of industries will have specific rules that you have to follow with commits. For now, we're just going to inline message, so we give it the flag -m, and now we're going to give it a message. Let's just do first commit. All right. Awesome. Now we go back to Git Status. Now you'll notice your branch is ahead of origin master by 1 commit. So our local branch is ahead of what's on here by 1 commit, because we just created a new commit. So if we look here on our GitHub, you notice it still says test. But if we git push origin master, I believe this is, yes, git push origin master. All right. It's going to ask for my username, so Nate Gillette, because I haven't been authenticated here, and then password. On Mac OS and on Linux, you'll most likely see this through the command line. On Windows, I've noticed that when you get to this part where you have to qualify or log in to your thing, Git will actually open up a little web page, and then you'll just log in normally, like it looks like you were logging into GitHub. All right. And once it's done, awesome. So we do a git status. Everything's good. Go up here. You see how that changed to my first repository. Awesome. Okay. So, if there was a different server, or there is something else, you could you could change, you can change the name. It's up to you, but if you're just pushing to this, then it'll be origin, master, origin, or like whatever branch you're using. All right, so let's get into branching. Speaking of branching is very useful if when you are, constantly developing a piece of software. So let's say for your 380 project, you're in a group of 4 or 5 people, maybe 3 people, and you're all working on a piece of software. Someone's working on the the GUI, someone's working on the engine, someone's working on the back end, something like that. And instead of just constantly adding to the same document and having having to like constantly email back and forth, hey, this is what, this is updated, oh, this broke, yada yada. You can have one whole Git repository for your entire project, and then each person works on their branch. So let's do a branch. Git checkout -b. That's how you tell Git, hey, checkout branch, and now we're creating a new branch. So let's call this Nate for my branch. Switch to branch Nate. So so we are on branch Nate. If we went to Git Status, we would say on branch Nate instead of saying on branch master. So this is how you can work on things if you're adding a new feature that's not ready for prime time yet, or just working on some things, testing out new things. You can have multiple branches, and it's really, really helpful. Keeping track of everything. People can have their own space to work on things. It's very, very useful. All right. Yeah, and then if you ever wanted for any reason to go back to master, you can git checkout master. See, it says we went back to master. All right, let's go back to Nate. Check out Nate. Yep. All right. So as you can see, it's the same, but what if we want to add something? We've been working on something. We've been doing a whole lot of stuff. I'm starting to work on the GUI, so hey, let's do it. All right. I wanted to change something. I gotta do what I gotta do. All right. So Git touch. Actually, hold on. Let's just modify the README again. Vim README. All right. So my first repository. All right. Nate's branch. Just modifying the file. All right. Git status. All right. And then you go the same thing. So you commit the same way. So git add. Since we only added one file, you can be lazy like that. All right. Now we're gonna git commit message. Actually, let's show you the other way. This is what happens when you don't do that inline message. This gives you a whole gedit, and you can do whatever you want. The first line, I believe it's the first 20 or 25 characters are the title of the commit, and then everything subsequently afterwards is the body of the commit. It's very much like just writing a paragraph, except you want to keep it short and concise. I believe I believe you only have a certain amount of characters, anyways. So this just opened up right in gedit. All right. Let's call this. Let's see. Added new line to read me. All right. So Control O to write it. We're cool. Save it. Save to the file, and then exit. Save modified buffer. Yes. Yes. All right. Perfect. So go to Git Status. On branch Nate. Nothing to commit. Working clean. Yep. So that was committed. So now Git push origin Nate. Perfect. And now you see new branch Nate test Git. So we come here. So this didn't change, but you'll notice we now have another branch on this. Click on Nate. My first repository, Nate's branch. Perfect. You can also let's say you're working on the the main branch, and you're like, wonder what Nate is doing on his branch. So git diff will tell you the difference between the branches. So source branch is the branch you're currently in, and then target branch is the branch that you want to see. So if you were in master, let's actually get into master. Git checkout master. If I could only spell. All right. All right. So git diff master Nate, and see, and it'll tell you the differences between the readmes. My first repository is shared, new line, and then new line here, Nate's branch. The green is what is different between the two. And the green is what's in Nate. That's a target branch. All right. So like, okay, hey, that looks pretty cool. I want what's in that in master. So git merge Nate. And give a git status. You'll see we're ahead by one commit. You don't have to. What ends up happening is that all of the history and that's in the Nate branch gets merged into the history for the origin branch. So origin is going to commit whatever was committed in the Nate branch. So or the difference. So it'll reuse the same commit. It'll reuse the same message. And that's perfect. And so if I git push origin master, it's gonna ask me again to sign in, and then it's gonna ask me from a password. There you go. So now in master, Nate's branch, and here they're the same. let's see, let's go back up. And now, since we don't need the Nate branch anymore, because now all of my changes are now pushed to origin, or master. Since we are in master now, right? Git status. Right? Branch master. We can now delete the branch Nate. So, git branch d Nate. So now branch Nate no longer exists on the local repository. However, since Git and GitHub are really good at keeping track of all of your of the history of everything, it'll still have this branch here. However, after a lot of pushes to origin, it'll this will let you know how far behind you are, all that stuff. So yeah, it's pretty good. Just do git push origin master just to get it up there. Make sure we're all everything up to date. All right. And then this could also happen where you boot up your machine, it's been a while, and you're like, oh hey, there's like 100 new things up on your Git. So if you want to refresh it, or someone pushes to master, you'll hit Git Status, and it'll say, origin master will is behind, by a couple commits or whatever. So let's actually show you how that would look. So let's see. Do I have anything fun? All right. Well, yeah, let's upload this. Whatever. Commit changes. So we just added a new file. So if we go to Git Status, okay, yeah, it'll just be like, hey, right now it doesn't know because it thinks you're clean, whatever. So git pull. Let's see, what is it? Git pull, and then you will go to. Back up here. I think it should just be git. I think it's just git pull origin master. Yep. And then you see create mode, CC42, assignment 3, and there. We now have that. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to talk to you about. No tagging. Git log can be useful. Shows you all the commits, and then you can see, hey, who did what, yada yada yada. Everything's by name. Replacing local changes. Not really going to show you that. Just be sure that when you are committing, or when you're adding files to commit, make sure you absolutely want those files pushed up. It is fairly trivial to get them out. You would reset. You would check out file name. So it's fairly easy. Git will even tell you, hey, if you don't want this, git check out, and then the file name it'll take out. There's a built-in GUI. That's how you get to it on Windows. Oh yeah, there's one other thing. So it can be really, really annoying to constantly keep changing, or keep keep adding the username, password, all that stuff. I think this fixes it. Let me just double check. Hold on. What is my git config? Okay. No, so it's the same. So there are ways to fix that. You know, you can download tokens. Now off the top of my head, I'm not 100% certain how to fix that. Although on Windows, it'll remember your name for the session, and I think that automatically just gives you access. So it'll automatically just kind of, hey, this is, you know, this is authenticated, you know, so you don't have to keep signing in. But yeah, so that was Git. Hope you all learned a lot. Hopefully, you guys are, you know, fairly confident in the basics of this. And let us know in the Discord if you need help with anything. Thanks, guys.